I'm back, baby, and better than ever. You probably don't remember who I am. You might not even know who I am. Around 2007, 2008, I was briefly known on YouTube for a Nintendo DS homebrew tutorial on how to install Moonshell, the media player, on your Nintendo DS devices. Well, it's been about 17 years, and I'm all grown up. So a quick disclaimer before we get started. It's a safe assumption that you're here on how to install AltStore and DolphiniOS on your iOS 17 and or iPadOS 17 devices, as well as the AltServer, which is what allows you to install AltStore on your device. We're specifically going to be doing this on a PC because my MacBook Pro died in October of last year. Rest in peace, my Intel MacBook Pro. Was with me a very long time. Anyway, finally, disclaimer, this channel nor its staff are neither liable nor responsible for any errors or damages caused to your devices or equipment. Proceed at your own risk, because we're all adults here, and if you're not an adult, well then you're learning a valuable character-building life skill, which is accountability and responsibility. You get a 2-in-1. Anyway, the requirements for this are JIT. But first of all, what is JIT? JIT stands for Just in Time, which is a compiler that translates byte and intermediate script code and translates it into machine language instructions at its execution or runtime. How's that for paraphrasing from Apple's developer site? So the way this works is it allows for performance boosts using the CPU, otherwise known as a processor, and it is initiated as needed on a per-app basis, taking place within an app's processing space. So, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself later in the description of the video or what have you. I think after iOS 14.5, Apple started locking down and putting its claws into everything the way it always does. Because even though your device is capable, Apple doesn't want you to use it because they just want to keep selling you stuff. God bless you, Tim Cook. Anyway, they've let JIT use for third-party developers to be something that's extremely limited and something that only a certain amount and kinds of apps get to use as long as they meet their App Store guidelines. But what you'll need, other than JIT, is a PC because, like I said, my MacBook died. And then you're going to need iTunes and iCloud, specifically the versions that are directly from Apple, not the Microsoft Store versions, not the Microsoft Store versions, and not the Microsoft Store versions. So if you have those installed, the Microsoft Store versions, you're going to uninstall them and you're going to install the versions directly from Apple. But where do you go? Because if you go on the Apple site, you can't find them because it's almost impossible to find. Well, lucky us. If you go to the AltStore Installation Instructions page for Windows or PC, there are direct download links, and I'll do my best to put those direct download links in the description of this video. I spent about 9 to 10 hours trying to get this work because I didn't know any of that. I actually didn't have any iOS or iPhone drivers on the PC installed. But I'll touch base on that later. Beyond those iTunes and iCloud Apple versions, you're also going to need AltStore. And the reason we're using AltStore as opposed to other side loading methods such as TrollStore is because TrollStore, as of right now, does not work on iOS 17. And then beyond that, we're going to have to install Python in order to get the thing that's going to allow us to get JIT to work. And so this video is based upon the work and video by fritzlb. Fritz, if you're watching this, thank you very much. I sincerely mean it. If I mispronounce your name, please correct me. I'm a humble human being, and I want to do your name justice. Anyway, Fritz's project is called iOS 17-JIT-Win, and even though he has a video on how to get this to work, I made this video to help you avoid troubleshooting like I did, and not wasting 9 to 10 hours so you can get to playing your games faster. The other thing that works, supposedly, even though I didn't get it to work because I didn't install all the things I'm going to show you how to install now, is something called the JIT server by NY the Pegasus. And if I manage to get it to work in the future, I'll be sure to make a tutorial on that. But Fritz's product, in my opinion, is the most seamless and easiest way to get this to work, because all you have to worry about is a USB cable, and you run a simple command line script to get it to work. Command line prompt, what have you. Just so you know, this is semi-tethered, so you're going to have to keep the cable plugged into your iPad while running the script in order to get your GameCube game or ISO/ROM started. But you can disconnect it after it boots. But once you swipe out of the emulator or exit the app, you don't have to reinstall everything, but you're going to have to run the script again. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was rumored that the only way to get JIT to work on iOS 17 was using a Mac. Clearly, that's not the case, which is also the point of this video, and that's why we're using a PC. But let's get started. So, hey everybody. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Google, or your search engine of choice, and we're going to type in AltStore Windows install. And the first thing that should show up is how to install AltStore for Windows on their facts or FAQ page. Now, I already downloaded everything. I'm on a mobile data connection at the moment, and I don't waste it. But just so you guys know what to download, and it's up to you whether you want to download things individually or all at the same time. The only thing that really matters is the order in which you install everything. But here on AltStore, and I'll try to post the links in the description of the video as well, they have the iTunes and the iCloud direct download links. It's a safe assumption, a safe bet, that you're probably using the 64-bit version of Windows. So click that and download that. And then for iCloud, you'll see that the 32-bit and the 64-bit version are combined in one download. So then you can click that. And then after that, you're going to want to install... Excuse me, not install. Not yet anyway. You're going to want to download AltServer for Windows. So once you have those three things downloaded, go back to Google. Then look up Python. Go to python.org. You'll see under this download section, you should see download for Windows pop up Python 3.12.3. Hit that, download it. Then after that, we're going to go back to Google, and you're going to look up iOS 17 no space dash win dash JIT, and then that should be enough to get the result we want, but I type Fritz just be on the safe side. And the first thing that should show up is this GitHub page. If you click that, it'll take you to the GitHub page, and then you'll see this code button. Click that, and then go down to the download zip. And once you have all those things downloaded, it's kind of in order of operations, as I was saying, in terms of what you should download first. And so the first thing we're going to want to install is the iTunes setup. Double click that. Let that load up. And though this might seem pretty straightforward, and you might be wondering, why are you showing me how to install iTunes? Well, it's just to be on the safe side, to make sure you didn't install the Microsoft Store version, and as I stated earlier, if that's the version you have installed, whether it's iTunes or the iCloud Microsoft Store, Windows Store version, make sure you uninstall it, especially before installing the version directly from Apple. The reason I'm showing you this is because I hate unnecessary things. So here, where it asks you if you want to add an iTunes shortcut to my desktop, I'm going to hit no, because frankly I don't really care for it. The only use I have for iTunes is to get AltServer and the AltStore and the JIT thing running. Use iTunes as a default player for audio files? Absolutely not. And then automatically update iTunes and other Apple software. Honestly, that's up to you, but I'm also going to hit no. And then you'll see that it's got that little security shield thing. Whatever security prompts you get, just hit yes. Just let it do its thing. Just in case you did have the Microsoft Store, Windows Store version of iTunes and iCloud installed, after you uninstall it, be sure to restart your computer to be on the safer side. Just do a shutdown and then turn it back on, because I don't really trust restarts. And if you wanted to go an extra step, if you have a registry cleaner, make a backup of your registry before uninstalling or after uninstalling, and then clean your registry, and then install the versions directly from Apple. But that only applies if you already have it installed. If you've never installed iTunes or iCloud on your PC before, you'll be fine. So here it's going to ask you if you want to open iTunes after the installer exit. We will open iTunes, but we don't need that yet. So I'm going to check that. I'm going to hit finish. Next thing is we're going to install iCloud, because iCloud and iTunes work in tandem to get the AltStore, the AltServer, and the JIT, Fritz's JIT product working. So here, it's going to install. It's like an Apple Trojan horse to think about it. Anyway, accept the terms. You see the security shield. Be sure to hit yes on all the security prompts. Let it do its thing. Pardon me. Also, word to the wise, if you are in a place that has a very hot climate, like the Caribbean, which is where I'm currently at, be sure to surround your equipment with fans so it can keep cool, because it definitely affects the performance of all your digital and technological devices. Okay, so iCloud for Windows has been installed on your computer. I'm going to hit finish. And now it's going to tell me that I must restart my system for the configuration changes made to iCloud to take effect. And you know what? We're going to do that. Before I hit yes, I have to end the screen recording and save it, or else all my work will be at a loss. So just give me 1 second. But hit yes, restart your computer, and I'll see you in a second. So my PC is restarting. And like I said earlier, if you always want to be on the safer side of things, you can always just do a whole shutdown. But because I've already done this a few times, and I'm confident that the restart should be enough. But usually, I prefer to do a full shutdown, just to give the computer a fresh start. Okay, so I just restarted my computer. I am waiting for the desktop to load. It's amazing that it took such a long time to get basic screen recording on on PC. I remember the Camtasia days, but I'm not trying to pay $180 for Camtasia right now. But if you ever do a screen recording tutorial, if you plan on doing it consistently, it might just be worth your money. Okay, anyway, everybody, let me get my screen recording back up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into iCloud, and it's going to ask you to log in. And although this part's pretty straightforward, because I love to save space, the reason I'm showing this to you is in case you want to do things the way I like to do them. It's going to ask you if you want to send diagnostic usage to Apple. I'm going to hit no. As soon as you are logged in to your iCloud, you're going to uncheck iCloud Drive, Photos, Mail, and Bookmarks, because I really have no use to sync all that with this PC, since I don't use any of the services with this PC, and like I said earlier, my only use for this is to get the AltServer and AltStore to work. Okay, so I applied that. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the AltInstaller. This is a zip file, just in case. As you can see here, it's a compressed zip file. We're going to hit Setup. And you're going to hit Next. It's going to ask you where you want to install it. I want to install it just for me, because I like to kind of just localize things. Actually, before we do this, I recommend, before we even do that, I recommend extracting it. Because it prevents things from going crazy. So now you'll see that I have two AltInstaller folders. One is the original compressed zip file, one is the uncompressed zip file. If you want, just to be on the safe side, you can get rid of the compressed zip file. Now we're going to go into AltInstaller, the extracted version. You're going to hit Setup. If it gives you prompts, be sure to hit yes, and then close. And here is the fun part. So, after you install AltServer, you can search AltServer, and actually, let's see something real quick. Yes, you can search up AltServer app. And this installed it right on the programs version of the start menu. Last time I installed it, it showed up automatically. But in case it doesn't show up for you, you can just look it up here, Alt, and then it shows up there. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go right here. You'll see that that is the AltServer menu. If you click it, and at this point you're going to want to plug in your iOS device. And you'll see it right now, it says no connected devices. So in order to get this to work, we're going to plug in the iPad. I'm going to plug in an iPad Air 5th generation with the M1 chip. Will you hand me the cable over there? Will you hand me the, actually, yeah, this one should work. And there's one thing we have to do. We're going to have to go to iTunes first. Open the iTunes app. It's going to ask you if you want to allow this computer to access the information. You're going to hit yes. Hit trust on your iOS or iPad device. It'll probably ask you for a passcode. And you should see your device pop up around here, but in case it doesn't, just try unplugging and replugging it in. And now we'll see that it pops up. So we're going to hit the iPad. We're going to make sure that sync with this iPad over Wi-Fi is checked off. It's up to you if you want to check everything else. But as long as that's there, we should be good to go. So now we're going to go to back to the AltServer. Excuse me. We're going to go to install AltStore, and there your device should now show up. Just make sure that sync with this iPad over Wi-Fi is checked off. We're going to hit that. Before I do that, I'm going to screen record on the iPad so you guys can see that it is installing. Here it's going to ask you for your Apple ID once again. So for this, I highly recommend that you use the Apple ID that you use to log in to your iCloud to prevent any issues. And we'll see this little prompt over here that's installing AltStore to Daniel's iPad 2. And that this may take a few seconds. While this is going on, we're going to download the most important thing, which is DolphiniOS. Here we're going to learn how to download and install DolphiniOS. And we're going to hit the manual install. We're going to hit download. It says, do you want to download the file? I'm going to hit OK. Now that's downloaded. We're going to hit open file in another app. Before we do that, let's just make sure. We'll now see that the AltStore is installed. But you're going to see it says untrusted developer. It says use your device management settings. Do not allow using blah, 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 blah. So we're going to have to go to settings. We're going to have to go to VPN device management. And then we're going to see, you're going to see your iCloud name. And then there you're going to say, you're going to hit, trust. You're going to trust it. And then under privacy, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to see that developer mode is now available. Just make sure that that's on. Now we should be able to open the AltStore. Just allow it. Allow it. And it's funny it's working this time because last time it didn't work at all. Actually, here, let's see. This worked, but if I hit sources... Oh, look, it worked. And that's great. And actually here, because it's working this time, you can hit the Oatmeal Dome's AltStore source and you can add it. You can hit DolphiniOS. The issue is this one for some reason doesn't work, so do the DolphiniOS public beta. If that doesn't work, you can go back to your browser directly on your iOS device, and you can use a non-jailbroken .ipa. And just in case the source doesn't work for you, you can just install it directly from here, but we're going to do it manually. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit that. If you're using Safari, I'm not using Safari. I'm using iCab, which is my favorite browser on iOS. You can hit open file in another app. If you use Safari, it should just be in your downloads folder. And let's just go to files, because that's probably where you guys are going to be accessing it from. You can hit it, and once you hit it, you can hit the little prompt thing, and here it's going to give you an option in terms of what to do with that file. You're going to hit AltStore, and look, it's plugged in, and it's going to ask you to sign in with your Apple ID. And then you can install it from there. It's going to tell you everything you got to know. Hit that. Let's do its thing. Thanks for bearing with me, but I promise you this is worth it if you really like your GameCube games. And now we'll see that it is installed. And here you can see the view app IDs, which is important because we're going to need that for the next part. So now that all that's installed, if you want to just give it a try, you can go to the app, which you'll now see is installed. I'm going to hit no. Or yes, it's up to you. Yeah. And so you'll see that here we don't have any games. And when it comes to ISOs, we do not condone piracy on this channel. So if you're going to be playing ISOs, make sure that the ISOs you have are your copies or that you already own a physical copy of the game, because this is solely used as a means for playing things that you have already purchased, because we don't like piracy now, do we? Okay, now we're going to go back to files. You'll see that I already have an ISO saved. It's inside of a zip file. I'm going to uncompress it. Just done uncompressing. And here we're going to hold this. We're going to hit move, and we're going to put that in the DolphiniOS folder that was just created automatically after installing DolphiniOS. We're going to put it in the software folder. We're going to move it there. Now if we go back into DolphiniOS, if we give it a second, actually let's just close the app and reopen it. We'll see that the Enter the Matrix game, which is what I'm using, is there. But the problem is JIT is not enabled. And so you're going to get this thing that says waiting for JIT. So this is the next part. This is the final step, everybody. We're almost done. Now, back on the computer, we're going to install Python. And this part is very important. We're going to be sure to check the part that says add python.exe to path. We're going to hit install now after that. Let it do its thing. And here you'll see disable path length limit. We're going to click that just in case, just to be on the safe side. Hit yes. It was successful. And we can close that. Now we're going to Fritz's project, which is iOS 17 JIT-win main. And here, if you see this right, you'll see that it's also compressed zip file. So what we're going to do here is we're going to right click, we're going to extract it, extract it wherever you want. I'm going to extract it to the same folder I have it. saved in, which is my downloads folder. And to avoid confusion, I'm actually going to get rid of the compressed file. And then I'm just going to go into the extracted folder. And so there's the install and there's the install slow. I use the install slow method, but either one of them should be able to work. And you'll probably get a prompt like this at Windows Protected your PC. You're going to hit more info. You're going to hit run anyway. Do you want to allow this app to change to your device? And you're going to hit yes. And so this part is important. It's currently installing. My super special friend is filming right now. They have work tomorrow. I know they're ready to kill me, but this is a sacrifice we're making for the emulation community on iOS. Who would have thought that the 12-year-old boy that made the Moonshell tutorial could have such a beautiful friend, not only internally but physically. Curvaceous she is. Like a Coca-Cola bottle. Anyway, this is about to finish. I'm really anxious doing this because now you see how tedious this whole thing is. And now you've got all this command line going like the Matrix. And now it's going to tell you that for everything to work, it's recommended to reboot the PC. You want to do it because we want to be on the safe side, of course. Now, I'm going to have to end this screen recording again. So let me just do that real quick. So now that we rebooted the computer, we're going to go to wherever you saved the Fritz's project, which is right here for me. I put it in my downloads folder. And you're going to hit the thing that says open terminal here. If you get a prompt, hit yes. And you can go back to Fritz's page. That's Fritz's video. Anyway, down here, Fritz put the command line that you're going to run to get the script to work. You're going to hit Control-C to copy it. And we're going to replace in the command line prompt the part that says bundle ID as well as the brackets. Make sure that your iPad is your iPhone is plugged in. And then you're going to paste it into the command line prompt. And then here on the AltStore, you'll see under My Apps that you can hit View App IDs. And you should see the app ID under your app of choice, which in our case would be DolphiniOS. And we're going to put in the part that says me.oatmealdome.dolphin iOS, and make sure to use caps or uppercase letters when they're displayed, and lowercase for the parts that are lowercase. Dash NJB in my case. And don't copy what I'm putting in because it's specific to each device. Dash Patreon dash beta dot QRLD 4C 7QND QRLD4C QRL. Yep, and hit that. at that point, you'll see that it just closed out of that window. Just hit it again, your game. If it doesn't work, try. Closing and reopening the emulator. Once it pops up, you can hit it again. If it doesn't work, then what you can do is we're going to copy the whole thing, Control-C, and then paste it again. And it kicks you out of the game, or they're waiting for JIT prompt. Just hit it again. And now you'll see, right here, after some time, that you'll get this, which is something that says EndKit warning, and it's going to tell you that you're right about an EndKit. I don't know if this is specific to my ISO or not, but if you see this, that's a good thing. And then you're going to hit yes, and look what we got going on. We got the GameCube emulation going on. And that's it, everybody. Thanks for this tutorial. I will tell you that if you are plugging in a Bluetooth controller, it will not work by default. You're going to have to quit out of this. Once you've got this going, you can actually unplug it, and it'll work just fine. But if you go into the settings, DolphiniOS, you can select the controller you want, but you're going to have to map the controls according to how you want it set up. Also, as soon as you swipe out of this or exit it, you're going to have to not reinstall everything, but you're going to have to run the script again. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for all your patience, including the lovely camera person. I know they're going to slit my throat after we're done here, but it took me a while, took you a while, but here we go. Be proud of yourselves.